So I'm going to talk today about somatic manifestation, which is something that I teach. And I want to first define what manifestation is. It is simply you being your spirit on earth. And it's not just you realizing you are spirit conceptually or experientially, it's bringing spirit into the body and connecting spirit with earth. And so the process of that connection can involve some chaos, some confusion, because spirit comes in through the chakra system, and as it tries to connect with the earth, the interference patterns, the perceptions, the strong emotions, the strong aversions kind of eject it back out. And so it can't fully manifest itself on this earth. Manifesting other things is conditions, wealth, all of that is a byproduct of learning how to bring your spirit to earth. So the number one hindrance that people have in the application of metaphysics, as I mentioned yesterday, is that they do not know how they feel. They do not know how they feel. Actually, there's two things. They do not know how they feel, and they are unwilling to keep their energy open in the face of doubt. Or the body is so clenched in doubt and cynicism and low expectation that the energy is not allowed to flow. If you think of Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk wants to start a new city in Texas called Starbase. He wants to go to other planets, and he's like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. There's no problem, right? That's the spirit coming through. So, but I like to talk about the feeling aspect, because if spirit runs into, let's say strong disassociation, let's say the person really is not in their body, and so basically what they're saying is, I have no interest in being here, right? If I'm not going to come into my body, spirit will go elsewhere, right? It's not going to disconnect from you, but it only comes into you when you're focused, when you're directed, when your energy is open, okay? So I teach people how to open their energy to allow the flow of spirit, which is what we want. What we want is to allow our true nature to flow through us, experientially, to feel that feeling of being creator and of just being. Both of those things, both the female and the male principle of just the perfection of being, and the male principle of going out and creating, right? Don't make images of spiritual teachers thinking that they just sit around being all day. I know Eckhart Tolle likes to do that, but there are other spiritual teachers, including Jesus. If you read about Jesus, he was a firecracker. He would go into the synagogues and say, no, we don't need a middleman. We don't need to pay or whatever to communicate with God. He was passionate. Yogananda didn't sit around doing nothing, right? He brought yoga to the Western world. That's spirit coming through. The way spirit comes through you is unique to you. None of those beings are better or worse or right or wrong, but the way that enlightenment, the way that spirit shows up uninhibited in your life is special and is specific to you. So people really don't know how they feel because they're not in their bodies. You can't really create your reality unless you are aware of what's going on in your body. You also, a lot of people don't understand the difference between an inspiration and being motivated from stress. And so what is essential to being able to do that is to create feelings of peace purposely. I'll share some of the ways that I like to do that. Because for me, I had an awakening where I was blasted out of my ego and my mind completely stopped, and I was in like a blissful state for 2 years. Kind of like the Eckhart Tolle story. I couldn't, like, I didn't want anything. I was like kind of just floating around, blissful. But that ended up being kind of a disconnected state, because what happened 2 years or 3 years later was the energy of spirit started drilling through my chakras and cleaning out the psychological content that it needed to clean out in order to really fully manifest, fully press into this reality. So I love devotional energy. I love to sing. I sing Ave Maria every single day. I'm very picky about the music I listen to now. That's a very interesting thing, you know. I used to say, well, you know, rap music's cool and everything is cool, and like when I'm in the mood, it's good to move energy, and it is, it still is, right? It's good to move energy, it's good to be inspired to dance. But the messaging and the energy of music is really important. And so I love to sing devotional songs. I love to, Ave Maria is a type of technology that opens the throat chakra. I love a Kundalini hymn called Antanasifati, which I might put a link to. It's so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. It just opens the heart, opens the heart. I drive listening to a tone, like a Hertz tone, and just feeling my heart. Because it can be really hard to tell the difference between inspired action and filling the void. If filling the void is so normal to you that you would confuse agitation or dissatisfaction or the need to hurry up and get it, the need to do it before that person, right? All of that kind of energy, that might feel to you like, oh yeah, I was really inspired to do that. It's like, no, what inspired you to do that was your feeling of unworthiness, was your feeling of lack. So to create the contrast, to be able to spot it in real time, to be able to spot like, okay, I am actually trying to fill a void right now. I personally, every time I want to purchase something, I really dial into how I feel, because I had a pretty strong habit of buying things. Like somebody would say, oh, I love your shoes. And I'd be like, okay, I need another pair, right? I loved that positive feedback. And so I was being driven by validation, by, oh God, I better get more of this because I better stock up on this. It was a stressful energy. So when I buy things, like, I'm really like, I love things. I love money. I love enjoying myself. I love all the aspects of life, but I really dial in and I'm like, is this really inspired? Right? That's something I slowed down more than other things, because I really had a strong habit of acting from that place of lack. So devotional energy is beautiful, you know, like reading scriptures is beautiful. I have a channeling rock. I thought I had it with me. I guess I put it down somewhere. It's a solasite stone. The energy of stones, practicing feeling energy, particularly in your left hand, which is your receiving hand, to put like some really soothing feeling mineral or something in your hand, and really, if you can't access without something, without help, like the feeling of soothing, then use music, use a stone. I also love the channeling rock because every time I channel, you know, I infuse my intention into the stone, and I just love holding it. It feels so good. Really practice the feeling of being completely at peace, but not just, again, you can use the idea of like awareness, like, okay, I am not the mind. I am not the mind. Okay, but that doesn't mean you're at peace, because if your conditioning is looping and stressing out, right, my recommendation is to merge yourself with that, bring your presence into those feelings. There's so many poetic ways that this has been said, but you know, that idea that there is no observer and observed, it's only one experience. That means that there's no awareness observing something else. There's just life as it is right now. So when you're feeling an emotion, to be so intimate with it that there's no difference between you and it. And what's so cool about that is that you will experience that energy, perhaps like an anxiety, as bliss. So I'll do it right now because I'm feeling like a little tension in my jaw. It's like all energy is happiness, like, but the mind like worries about it, like, what's going on with me, what's going on here, like when you merge with it so fully that your presence meets the sensation, like you actually experience all energy as joy. It's amazing. But this video is more about, you know, being really aware of how you feel. You can't be very aware of how you feel if you stay in spiritual concept land. If you refuse to, you know, even temporarily, like lose interest in everything that you're chewing on mentally and just really dial into what's going on in your body. You can't get from point A to point B if you don't know where point A is. You know, there's a very common metaphor of the water going through the hose, right? Water is life force. The hose is you, the instrument, right? You're pointing it at watering the flowers, but the hose is kinked, right? The flowers would be what you want to create in the world, where energy is flowing towards. But the kink in the hose is, you know, it could be a fear, it could be a tightness, but you could be so disconnected from your body that you don't even realize that the hose is kinked. If you made that simple intention of being like, is my instrument clear? Is my instrument clear? Is my instrument clear? And then with your loving attention went in and touched with your presence, whatever's going on in your body, the energy will clear. It will. So a lot of people don't know that their hose is kinked. They're like, all is perfect. I mean, have you ever heard, like, seen somebody like that? Like they're talking about stuff that sounds good, but you know, in the energy, there's just like a spinning feeling or an anxious feeling, and it's like because they haven't gone in yet. They haven't gone into the body. They haven't brought their intelligence, their spirit into the soma, into the chakras. It's a very powerful practice to just find any tension in your body and breathe into it, and then exhale it down through the soles of your feet. Because what you're doing by approaching your body and your tension with love is you are actually telling your subconscious mind, I have no fear. Because I've said this in other videos, the only thing we really fear is a feeling of powerlessness, of rejection, of grief. So the decision to go in and to feel on purpose, to have the intention, like, I really want to be aware of my instrument. I really want to be aware of any kinks in the hose, so to speak, and to just bring your love into that area. It's so simple. It's remarkably simple and remarkably powerful because it's really just physics. It's like life force is flowing through you. What disallows the flow? Well, primarily, it's the fact that you're not in your body. Yogananda said, yes, we do create our reality, but we have to do spiritual practices in order to have the ability to focus, right? Because we get so distracted with X, Y, and Z, with the world, with our emotional addictions, right? If you're addicted to being amped up, you will seek things that amp you up. If you are addicted to being confused, which just means that's all you know as a child, maybe you were always confused, maybe your parents always told you that you didn't feel what you really felt, so you interact with people who confuse you. You never quite get clear because that's all you know. So it's really important to be able to tell the difference between what's really moving through you as inspiration and you filling the void, right? So just tune into that really deeply, and it's more obvious for some actions than others. Like when you decide to, if you share on social media, before you post something, what is this coming? Is this coming from your heart? Especially in the political world, a lot of stuff comes from reaction, and that's okay too. We need everybody. We need everything in this world. Everything is an essential part of the whole. But if what I'm saying resonates with you, try it, right? Like I said, before I buy stuff, before I shop, I'm like, I have a tendency to get sped up in that arena, so I really slow down. Devotional energy, singing, meditating on a feeling, meditating on the feeling of clarity, on the feeling, like writing it down or just saying it in your mind, seeing it like a motel sign, creating a form like a bubble of light that familiarizes your mind with the feeling, the somatic feeling of relaxation, pleasure, joy. Some of these feelings are so repressed in us that we have never actually really experienced them on a consistent basis. So familiarizing yourself, I'm like sweating because I had some sips of coffee. Familiarizing yourself with good feelings. Practicing being comfortable. That's a big one. So many people are always uncomfortable. So like a lot of people will uncomfortable in their body. You can never be comfortable in your body unless you get in there and bring comfort to the places that are uncomfortable. Bring awareness to the places that are unaware. Bring oneness to the places that are separate in you. So yeah, creating the contrast between what you're familiar with from your childhood, void filling, discomfort, confusion, chaos. A lot of people are addicted to chaos, are attracted to danger, right? Being attracted to like a dangerous person, like a guy that's not good for you, a girl that's not good for you, that might feel like inspiration to you, but it's actually your karma magnetizing you towards somebody. And there's a way to know the difference, but first you have to create such a contrast between that karmic pull and the open-hearted inspiration that you even have a choice, right? You have no choice in what happens to you if you can't feel. You will just be pulled into your karmic cycles until you get so sick of them that you allow something else in. Part of what I'm saying is you don't have to get to the point where, a lot of your life is being destroyed because you are ignoring your body. You are ignoring the message. You are ignoring the feeling. So yeah, I teach kind of being an adept of energy, because that is a gift that we have from God. It's a gift from the universe. That's our gifts and abilities. That's how we're built. We are feeling beings. Why, a lot of spiritual teachings kind of like remove you from, disconnect you from the more energetic and physical dimensions. And that can be very dangerous, right? If you are disconnected from the world, if you are disconnected from your body, you could understand every spiritual concept, you could memorize every scripture, you could even sing your devotional energies all day, but if you don't get exposed to the world and see what's in there and bring love to it, your instrument is kinked. Your instrument is kinked and you don't know it. So get excited about discovering this. Get excited about bringing your love into your body. Get excited, practice. Some people cannot meditate in silence, so okay, meditate on a feeling. If you have trouble accessing a feeling, think of something that gives you access easily, like your dog or a baby monkey or a child that you love, so that you open the door to the somatic experience of it. And then once you're in that feeling of adoration, of love, memorize it. Put your attention on it. Focus on it. Focus on it, because you attract what you're familiar with. I don't believe that learning how to create in an intelligent way, to create yourself on this earth, is like some teachers would say, well, that's like the little self and that's like controlling. It's like, no, that's just not ignoring part of one of the dimensions of yourself and having it all work together. And you bringing your full self fully into this world is the most maximal service of love that you could ever do, because you are demonstrating how to manage energy that would free other people. You are demonstrating self-sourcing. You are demonstrating that, yes, you are creative energy itself. You have the ability to create. That demonstrating that frees other people, because other people are stuck in believing that they can only have what they want if they suffer, or if they get 1,000,000 degrees, or. So yes, demonstrating your true nature in all of its dimensions, in pure consciousness, in unconditional love, in the creative principle, is, I believe, the most loving thing that we could do for one another. So I hope some of this makes sense. I will elaborate more on it some other time. But yeah, I love teaching this. I love teaching how to fine-tune your instrument. So I hope you enjoy this and have a beautiful day.